Hi everybody. So welcome to another one of our Lupus 101 Facebook Live sessions. And today we don't have Christine Van Rijsdal with us. She is our social media star, as most of you know. But she is she's dealing with Lupus herself right now, so we are going to send her a lot of good wishes, and we're going to get started. So we have with us today Benjamin Naranjo from the San Jose Fire Department, and Ben is a community liaison for the state fire department. The fire department has been incredibly good to the Lupus Foundation. We had them at the last year's 5K. Yes, I remember you guys on our shirt, and we also had you guys at the gala. That was awesome. So Ben's going to talk a bit about preparedness and disaster preparedness, because April is National Preparedness Month. And he will talk about preparedness in general, as well as what patients with chronic illnesses can do to be ready for whatever is not coming. So, Ben, we're happy to have you, and there you go.
Thank you for that introduction. Yeah. I guess so we're going to be going over earthquake preparedness. I prepared a slideshow. Case here is going to be scrolling through it. So this is really important. This month is the anniversary of the great 1906 earthquake. So this is appropriate information, and we know we're in an earthquake-prone area. So if you can go to the next slide. So today, what I'm going to go over a little bit of the history of some of the earthquakes in San Francisco, what risks that we might encounter, what we can do. I want to provide you some research sources, some information to help you out, and like Spandon said, also for your special needs too. I want to help you out in that aspect. We're going to talk about what you should do before an earthquake happens, what you should do during an earthquake, and what you should do after an earthquake. And I also want to talk a little bit about emergency planning. And I'll answer some questions at the end of the session. And I know Spandon has already provided me with a few questions that we'll go over at the end of this presentation. So the next slide, please. So like Spandon said, I work for the San Jose Fire Department. San Jose is the 10th largest city in the nation. The call center, I want to tell you a little bit about what we do and the resources we provide. So the call center itself for the 911 system here in San Jose, we receive around 1 million calls every year. The fire department itself, we responded recently to the past year to 85,000 incidents. Around the majority of those incidents were medical calls, but at the same time, it was around 6,000 fires that we responded to. We also do a variety of other things. You see the fire department out of the freeways. We respond to vehicle accidents. We use the jaws of lies. So we do so many things. We provide a lot of services for the city of San Jose. We have 33 stations. We're an all-risk fire department, so we also cover the airport. We have special operations there. And we recently had the floods. We also have a USAR team. So we have firefighters that are specially trained to deal with these situations when it comes to floods. We have boats, and even with the earthquake situation, we have special tools for collapsed buildings. And that USAR team is also certified by FEMA. They get sent all over the nation when there's been incidents. They went to New York during 9/11. There were Katrina during the floodings. So be aware that your fire department's really well trained, and we have some of the best firefighters here in the nation, here in the city of San Jose. Next slide. So a lot of the resources that I'm going to cover today, you're going to be able to find them on your own. You can go to the Lupus website. It has some information that provides you that will be provided to you there. The FEMA site is a great site to go to too. It has a special section there for people with special needs and disabilities. They have great resources, and also the state of California. If you go to bepreparedcalifornia.ca.gov, I'll provide all this information Span can provide for you. if you want to do additional investigation in how you can prepare. Next. So, and also want to go over myself. So I've been a veteran also of the San Jose fire department for 19 years. So I worked here. And like Shannon said, I'm one of the community liaisons for the San Jose firefighters. So we go out and do a lot of community events. Last year we did 26 events. Some of the things I also am involved with. We have a burn foundation, kids that have been severely burned. We have a special camp for them, so I'm a counselor for them. We have a mentorship program, also called Fire Explorers, and we help kids who want to be firefighters and mentor them. And we're also involved in several other aspects. But starting with the earthquake, so this month is really important. April 18th is the anniversary of the Great San Francisco earthquake, and that's a significant event here in California. Earthquakes could be unpredictable. We don't know what's happened, so we need to be prepared for this. When this earthquake in San Francisco happened, it destroyed 80% of the city, and most of it was from fires after the earthquake. The quake's epicenter, the tremor caused the rupture of a horizontal displacement of the San Andreas Fault, and that earthquake was felt all the way from Oregon all the way to Southern California. So there's a lot of potential here for earthquakes. One of the earthquakes I was here for was the Loma Prieta earthquake back in 1989. We saw all the devastation that caused all around the Bay Area, from collapses of the freeway in Oakland, damages in the city of Santa Cruz to their downtown area. We had damage here too in the city of San Jose. So this is really important information. I'm glad I was invited. It's something that we can prepare for. We need to prepare for ahead of time, so we can all be safe. Next slide. So the United States Geological Survey has a probability of 72% that we're going to have a 6.7 earthquake or greater by 2043. That's actually up. They raised the probability from 63%. In some of the core areas, it just runs right through. We have the Hayward Fault and the San Andreas Fault here in the Bay Area. So it's really important to prepare. Okay, next slide. So what I'm going to cover here now is what we should do before the quake. So we teach all our kids. When I go to a lot of events at schools, and kids come through our fire station, we always teach them about stop, drop, and roll in case a part of your clothing catches on fire. When an earthquake happens, what we want people to remember is to drop, cover, and hold on. So you've got to look around the areas where you live and where you work or at home. So if an earthquake happens, you want to go under a desk, go under a table, hold on, cover yourself. If there's nothing to hold on to, you want to cover your head and your neck area and go down below. You want to get low down as fast as you can, because if it's a really severe earthquake, it's going to knock you off your feet. So we want to protect ourselves. The biggest thing that we got to worry about is debris falling. So in the past, we used to tell people to go in doorways, but we don't recommend that anymore because it doesn't protect yourself from falling debris. So just remember, drop, cover, and hold on. So things that we need to do to prepare our home is secure items. We want to prepare our home in our work area. So we want to secure items that could fall and cause injuries. We want to store critical supplies like water, medication, and documents of ourselves and our pets. And I'm going to go over that a little bit more in detail as in the presentation. We want to be aware and locate where our first aid kits are at our place of business, and also the fire extinguishers is critical, because usually when an earthquake happens, fires is the next devastating thing that destroys the property and affects people. And we want to learn our evacuation routes. Here at the business, most businesses have an evacuation route established near the doorway. And we also want to think about this at our homes. We want to look at the evacuation area from our home, like going through our front door to the window, areas that we can escape in case there's a collapse or something. We also need to, I'm going to talk more about making an emergency plan. So emergency communication plan. I'm also going to talk about a disaster supply kit and a grab-and-go bag. So next slide, during the quake, and the one after that. So like I mentioned before, I talked about the drop, cover, and hold. So if you're inside a building, you want to stay low, and you don't want to run outside when the quake's going on, because it's mostly, it might knock you off your feet, and you might get more injured by doing that, trying to escape. So you want to drop cover and hold on to until the shaking actually stops. If you're in bed, the best thing to do is actually just cover your head and stay there. If you have something above you, or use your common sense, move if you have to, but we recommend getting a pillow and just covering your head too. So you want to stay you don't want to get, so you don't want, like I said, I want to repeat that, you don't want to go to a doorway, because this doesn't provide that doesn't provide enough adequate. It's not an adequate safety area. Next slide. So outside, we want to use our common sense. We want to move away from buildings, street lights, anything that could fall on us. Even you want to look at utility wires, anything that could drop. We want to worry about broken glass and that falling on us. So try to get to a center area that's clear and a safe area. And as soon as you're in a safe area, drop down to the ground, because we don't want anyone. That's the other way you can injure yourself if you fall. And the other thing I want to cover is driving. So what do you want to do when you're driving? So it's going to be hard to feel if you're driving unless it's a really strong earthquake. You want to pull over when it's safe to do so, and just stop and wait till the earthquake stops, and then you move forward until when it's safe. Next slide. So now I want to cover what we should do after the quake. Next.
We're there.
So I want to reiterate. So after the quake, you want to initiate your emergency plan. You want to monitor. The first thing we're going to go to, we're going to see if the electricity's up. You want to go to see what's on the TV. The news reporters are going to say where the epicenter is. You want to get more information. So you want to monitor local news reports. If the power's out, one thing that we need to keep, a lot of us keep, is a battery-operated radio, and that way you can get information on what's going on. If electricity is up, you can also monitor social media. And a lot of cities have cell phone alerts and emergency information instructions. If you need to be evacuated and go to a certain area, they'll provide information that way. You want to survey your home for damage. You want to walk around and see if there's anything broken with the foundation, gas lines, if you need to shut off the gas lines. And you want to also be prepared for aftershocks. So just remember, if an aftershock happens, you want to drop cover and hold on. Next. So I want to talk now about the emergency plan. So like I said before, we don't know when an earthquake's going to happen, so we want to prepare ahead of time. So we have those resources available for us. You want to think about your family members and friends. You want to have a community of people you can rely on, and how you need to think about how you're going to communicate with everyone. These are personal questions you have to ask yourself, and so you prepare yourself. Like, how will my family get to safe locations when there's an emergency? How will my family get in touch if everything's down? Are we going to get in touch by cell phone, internet, or landline? Does that work? How will my loved ones know that I'm safe? You want to make sure we're going to worry about everyone. You want to make sure that people know where you are and how you're safe. So these are things that you have to prepare ahead of time. So two things. So you things to consider is meeting places. Where are we going to meet? The easiest place to meet is, if your house is damaged, is just outside your house. Find a safe area in your front lawn, if possible on the sidewalk. So tell your friends and family members ahead of time if there's no communication. Say, hey, this is where we're going to be. So if they are coming and they know you have an emergency plan afterwards to meet, they know where you're at. Another thing, if there's an earthquake locally, all landlines the fire department, everyone's going to be using the phone. So it might be easier to contact someone out of state. So if you have relatives or friends out of state, ask them to be a contact person. So your relatives and friends could contact them and they could tell them where you can meet or where your location is. So that's one key thing that we do. Also, talk to your friends and family members about your evacuation plans. And also, if we have pets, a lot of us have pets, how we're going to take care of them, what we're going to do, and also have resources for them. And also just try to keep it simple. So emergency plans, the fewer details you have, it's the easier to remember. I'm on disaster supply kits. So one thing we could do and prepare for a disaster is get together disaster supply kits. So if an emergency happens, the fire department's going to be overwhelmed. So we tell people, depending on the situation and how bad it is in the city or the area the disaster happened, it could be a few hours until we get to you. It could be up to 3 days until we get to you. So we want you to provide 3 days of resources for yourself. So this includes food, water, other supplies, sufficient quantities to last you for those 72 hours. So a disaster supply kit is basically a collection of basic items your hospital may need in the event of an emergency. So it's critical to get this together because you might have to evacuate in a moment's notice and take essentials with you. You'll probably not have time to search for the supplies needed at that moment when the disaster happens. So basically, it's like a bug out kit. Right now, there's a lot of TV shows on how to prepare if a disaster happens. It's something to have ready to go, ready that you don't have to think about. Just have it in a bag, have it in a box, something that you could take easily and put in your car and get away easily with. So for the disaster supply kit, we recommend 1 gallon of water per person per day for 3 days. We recommend a battery-powered or hand crank radio. We also recommend a flashlight, extra batteries, a first aid kit, a whistle, also dust masks to help filter contaminated air, and a wrench and pliers. And also, if the internet's down, also local maps so you can get around. Critical for lupus patients, you also need to consider your medications. So we recommend that you have at least a week or 2 of medications ready to go, because we don't know, we're not going to know if pharmacies are open or how impacted the hospitals are going to be. Also, if